someone's knocking. Oh, someone's calling.
So, you may have heard the news. Some of Carl's things have gone missing. That includes the pictures and mail I brought you earlier. I promise I didn't steal it, but I did borrow it. I'll return it once we're done. Let me deal with my family in the meantime. Oh, I guess that means I've officially confessed.
Oh,
I'm a Roottrees.
you're
I assure
Roottree.
you I have a reasonable explanation for the secrecy. I'm about to do something big the family doesn't approve of.
Am I gonna still get paid?
If you could just wait a little bit longer, I'll tell you more. In person. I'll return after 15 more blood relatives.
15? What? It was 9 last time. What? Okay. WRTD news. Let's WRTD news. Your local investigative jazz radio station. During their news segments at 45 minutes on the hour, they have been talking about the plane crash. This most recent hour, they've also talked about a picture taken from Carl's office after the plane crash and promised an interview online with a psychologist. During the interview, it's revealed that there wasn't a break-in. Instead, someone with a key to the office took the picture after discovering. I think we've kind of discovered that. Someone close to the family. The psychologist, however, also goes on to posit the culprit had an alternate agenda, specifically because nobody in the family has come forward to say that they have it in their possession. A comment below the article says, "Don't believe their lies. This is just another instance of the Roottree curse being a real true thing. I bet you Carl was murdered and the picture had evidence on it." Okay, well, I don't know about that. But we have kind of figured that out now, inadvertently, again. So before they called you, you heard a report. The newscaster mentioned an online search. Instead of returning, the person who hired you called in on the phone. They also told you to give you more of an explanation. Yeah. Okay. Lauren's diary contains some labeled pictures. This is the next generation caption, an attempt to recapture the spirit of the 5 pieces. Okay, look, I don't like to make judgments on people's appearances, but we already know that this is Zach because of Lauren's mom's, what she said, right? Like, that is 100% Zach. All right. And I feel bad for making that assumption, but I know down in my heart that is Zach. So we're gonna put Zach there. Okay. So for old time's sake, we gathered at the warehouse floor. I wanted Eli to stand all the way on the left, since to me he looked a lot like Pop did in the old one, but I was outvoted by my brothers. They insisted the 4 of us stand together, and so we clumped up in the middle and let everyone filter in behind and in front of us. The only one too good to make an appearance was Gwen. Grandma insisted that we include Sam, even if we didn't want to. None of us understood why, including Sam. I also didn't think it fair Miracle made it in, since he's technically a 5-piece. I guess my inner child still holds a grudge even after all these years. Okay. So I don't know who any of these people are. So, an attempt to recapture the spirit of the 5 pieces photo with our generation for old time's sake. I wanted Eli to stand all the way to the left, since to me he looked a lot like Pop. But I was outvoted by my brothers. They insisted the 4 of us stand together. So these are the 4. So this is oh boy. Okay. Let's go here, because we don't have pictures for the brothers. I'm thinking he looks the oldest, right? And then these two look old. I don't know. I'm gonna say he looks like the middle one, and then he looks the youngest. Okay. Then maybe he goes. No. Shoot. He definitely goes here. He goes here, and you go here. Oh, but we don't know. Okay, we don't know their occupation, so. Maybe just a student. I'm just gonna, because they just look young. I'm gonna say student. I don't know if that's actually true, but I'm gonna say student. And then Lauren, you are the blue with the puffy hair. That's you. Okay, and then red hair. So red hair. Who's the red hair? Who's the red hair? Red hair. So you just say you're Miracle, right? So is that you? It's gotta be. Oh, especially if he has a. It's gotta be. That's gotta be Miracle. Sam. I don't know who Sam is, and I don't know who this lady is. Lauren. For old time's sake, we gathered on the warehouse floor. I wanted Eli to stand. They insisted the four of us, so we clumped in. The only one too good to make an appearance was Gwen. Grandma insisted we include Sam, even if we didn't know. None of us. I also didn't think it fair. Miracle made in, since he's technically a 5-piece. I guess my inner child still holds a grudge. Wait, unless this is Sam. Maybe this is Sam. No. I guess, yeah, it could be. That could be Sam, actually. And then this would be Miracle Jr., right? But who is Sam? Where does Sam fit in all of this? That's the question of the day. But I think we're okay. So now, where do we go from here? Clark's getting married, and in my opinion, far too young. He's barely, but openly confronting them would make me a hypocrite. After all, Jacob. Clark, like the rest of the generation, is a free spirit. What else do you call? Okay. Clark Rafferty. Let's try looking up Clark Rafferty. Probably won't get anything. Rafferty. Oh, interesting. A few fan sites for the band Jim and Diamond seem to mention that he used to make music with Clark Rafferty. They mention an album called These Times. A band called C&J and J&D released one single called These Times. Someone with the username XXX Diehard Dazzler XXX scanned the cover and noted that it cost him over $200 at auction. Apparently this was Jim Roottree and Diamond LaRue's first song together. He also mentions that it was performed with Jim's cousin and Diamond's sister, and that it was only somewhat similar to Jim and Diamond's later works. You can't find anything else about Die Hard Dazzler, the band, or the singles, so all that's left to do is add the scan to your evidence. After a blazing fast 35-minute download, the track is also available. Okay. These Times, an old single from folk group C&J and J&D. You have a scan of the album as well as a recording of the title track thanks to a collector of Jim and Roottree memorabilia. The website also lists the song's credits as music and lyrics by Clark Rafferty and Jim Roottree, backup vocals by the LaRues. On it is a sticker that says, folk style songwriting catchy, MMM Magazine. Okay, that's the second time we've seen MMM Magazine. New periodical. It's out of business due to high competition. Clark Rafferty. section of the music called Skip It or Flip It has short, pithy blurbs about an album called These Times is listed under Skip It column with the following. These Times, a new amateurish songwriting, but ultimately doesn't do anything. Jim Roottree. A review and interview from 1979 titled A Reluctant Hitmaker, Jim goes into his first band. Until a few years ago, Diamond and I were in C&J and J&D with my cousin and his ex. Clark never knew his father, so our grandpop insisted he spend time with my dad and me. As a result, Clark and I grew up like brothers. Diamond and Jane, on the other hand, are actually sisters. So the four of us had Jane. Okay. So he got, go back to Clark. Diamond and Jane. So, Jane LaRue. Okay. He has blonde hair. And so I'm kind of thinking, oh boy. I'm kind of thinking that this is Clark. I'm kind of thinking. Uh-oh. Okay. We're just gonna do that because I don't know if we're gonna see if that might not that this like is monetized or anything because I don't even have close to those kinds of followers, but we're just gonna go with that. Okay, so with passing years, I don't know if these are important. Okay. I'm going to make the assumption that this is Clark. And I'm going to say he's a musician. Then I'm going to say this is what's her name? We do have a picture of her. She's blonde in this picture. I think that that's her. And I think that means that this is Jane. Okay. So so we have 3 here, and this is somewhere in here is wrong. So I'm going to make that U also wrong. Okay, you're not the president. Then, okay, so that's not you. All right. So we have 4 people, and somewhere in here is not correct. But we know that he is the lawyer because he was going to take over for his dad. Edward was going to take over for his dad. Clancy, I don't know what he was doing. Clancy Roottree Jr. The only thing Clark and I had in common was music, but even then we never agreed on what it should be. He was always more interested in catchy tunes, something you hum a week later. I've been told Roland is like that, but that wasn't my goal. I don't mind saying any of this because he'd agree for most of the decade he was a mess, but he's a lot happier now. He started Raffer tunes, and he's a much better jingle writer than songwriter. As one of the benefits of our famous family is a massive company willing to be a client. That's also how my father was connected to Roottree. All of his age-old ad campaigns were hung on the walls over the record player, but I was never interested. I just went straight for the music. I guess Clark was paying more attention. Oh, wait. Is there advertising? Is that right? Oh wait, no. He went into advertising? Because he said that his dad was. Then did he become a lawyer? And he was a student? And then what if he is actually this one? And he is this one? No. Okay. Because he said that his dad. What did he say? Where did that go? That's also how my father was connected to Roottrees. All of his old ad campaigns were hung on the walls over the record player. Well, we know Clancy was Carl's dad. Edward. Edward Roottree. I could have sworn. Wait, what did Lauren say? Lauren said 3 younger brothers. First generation was Lauren's father was in this generation. 3 younger brothers. Zach's not a bad president. Maybe I didn't take those notes because I wasn't paying attention. Edward Roottree. Clark and I grew up like brothers. Diamond and Jane. Edward is set to take a life between wars. 1964. Clark. Edward is set to take over his department once he retires. Clark's getting married, and in my opinion, Clark, like the rest of his generation, is a free spirit. Pop seems to have gotten over it. So, okay, maybe I'm just getting old, but our generation was never so bad. My brothers seem to all pursue passive knowledge, and the most rebellious. Okay, yeah, that's where she makes that comment. Pop seems to have gotten over it because Edward is set to take over his department once he retires. Yeah, that means, but Pop was a lawyer, so he has to be a lawyer, right? Right? He has to be a lawyer. And I don't know what you do. And I don't know what you do. Are you a college student? Okay. We're gonna leave those blank. But he said that his dad did ad campaigns, so advertising. And then he's not a screenwriter, right? That's not what it says. That's also how. But he started Raffertunes, and he's much better jingle writer than a songwriter. One of the benefits of our famous family is a massive company. All of his old ad campaigns were hung on the walls over the record player. Yeah, see, so his dad, unless his dad isn't Edward, but his dad has to be Edward. Unless but where Elias she was a granddaughter. Three younger brothers. It seems everyone has something to complain about. Gwen is no child. I told her that being expected to watch after 3 younger brothers didn't feel like a blessing. During the summer, I went to stay with her and Aunt Margot. Now she's off living the glamorous life while I'm stuck here with Clark. Granddad was furious none of his sons were taking over his presence, but that's what he gets for holding on for so long. Pop argued that the company should stay with our branch of the family since we still have the Roottree family. I'm not even sure Clancy would have volunteered for it, but he would have wanted it, but he's the one who volunteered. Ended up going to Zach, even though his surname doesn't match the candy. He's the firstborn son of the firstborn 5-piece. I'm not sure. I asked Clancy if that ever came up with a woman. After all, Angie's older than Zach, and I'm the oldest of us all. Sam. You learned that Elias Roottree had given in to his wife and announced that Sam, an obscure relative, was to be included. Have been pushing for Sam. Yeah, see, so I think Sam, in my mind, I immediately thought Sam was a guy, but I'm pretty sure she is the black-haired woman in that picture. Why Sam? I was somebody I've never met. After all, but I was told trim their branches from the family tree. So why is Sam special? Nothing adds up, and I'm not the only one to realize. Angie summoned all of the next gens to a secret meeting in Zach's office. Gwen's in Paris, but the rest of us, including Miracle's boys, spent ages trying to unravel the mystery. I didn't recognize Sam at Uncle Junior's wedding to Patsy last year. Okay, wait. Uncle Junior and Patsy. So that's got to be you, Patsy. Who are you, Patsy? Patricia Christensen or Patricia Jones? Which one are you taking? Patricia Jones. Okay. Who was the other one? Christensen? Patricia Christensen. Patricia Christensen. Let's see if I can spell this properly. Probably can't. Christensen. Nope. Okay. Christensen. Yep. Spelled it right. Okay. Clancy swore he saw Sam working alongside the farmhands EC and John when he used to drive past the old Anderson farm on his way to work. Upon hearing that, Zach checked the records and managed to confirm all three are on the books. Eli, Miracle's youngest, not my brother. Oh, that's where I kind of automatically assumed, but Eli is actually here. Eli C. Roottree is here in advertising. That's him. And I'm thinking that is him. And then this one is Edward. And he went into law. There we go. Yep. I just assumed that he was because I got the youngest thing, but no, I was wrong. Okay, you've also locked Jane LaRue. Oh, and okay. Sweet. So we did get all of those right. So then Clancy has to be you. I just don't know your occupation yet. But we are getting there. And then you, so I know you're Clark. I just don't know what exactly, unless you're advertising also, maybe. You're advertising or you are a screenwriter. One of those two. I'm thinking advertising, though. I'm thinking more advertising. The problem is now we don't have I don't have another two to jump off of. But What if we did Jane LaRue? Jane LaRue. Jane Del Vecchio is listed on a talent for hire as a wedding singer. Interesting. Okay, so Clark, married to Jane LaRue, Del Vecchio, ex-wife. Way down in the credentials section of her biography, it mentions she got her start as a young girl when she was Jane LaRue of the Lucky LaRues. It also mentions to only contact her agent in the event that you actually wish to hire her, and that any and all inquiries about her past of her sister would be ignored. Oh, so maybe they're not talking anymore. Interesting. But what if we did you here? Okay, but periodicals, the Lucky LaRues. In an article from 1968, you find a small section focusing on young upcoming talent that Modern Music Monthly predicts will make it big. It has this to say about the LaRues. The LaRue sisters got their start doing session work for their great uncle's record label. If you remember any songs from 60 to 65 that feature the voice of kids, they were probably involved. Back then, they were credited as the Lucky LaRue. Now that he's passed, they moved on to bigger and better ventures and are going by their full name. Diamond and Jane have been touring together with famous faces. Ever heard of the Roottrees? And are you looking to release an album sometime in the next year? Youngest Kim is about to step into a prominent role on Broadway, taking over for one of the children in Oliver. Who's Kim? Kim LaRue? Kim LaRue. Okay. Kim LaRue. Okay, so that doesn't change anything. So then Jane Del Vecchio. Okay, so it just goes back to, all right. But they have a kid together who's also married. Oh, but that's so okay. Oh, wait. That's wrong. Oh, shoot. Now I don't remember which one I had there. I think maybe that's right. Okay. Let's close you up. We have all of this side to go through. So Zachariah Morden. We haven't really looked into them. How do you spell Zachariah? Oops. Zachariah. Morden. What do you mean? Butler County Times. Zachariah Morden. Okay. Unless Business Watch maybe? No. Here we go. Just Zach Morden. In 1959, there was a small blurb about Zach Morden, son of James and Gwendolyn, and grandson of Elias Roottree, inheriting the candy company. He's quoted saying, "Elias had trusted me with carrying on his legacy, and that's what I plan to do along with 5 pieces. Our chocolate maple products are selling incredibly well. We will not be making any changes." James Morden. Okay, so we knew that already. So what if we just do Zach Morden here? Anything? No, nothing. Okay, then perhaps let's go back to the list of names. Okay, it'd be nice if we could like Actually, here, let's do this. So we know we have Gwyneth Anderson. Oh, I don't want to do this. I'm just going to use this real quick. Names used. Okay, so we have Gwyneth Anderson used. Danielle Franks was used. Bonnie Hudson. That's a name that we've seen actually, and I want to see Bonnie Hudson. Shoot. What about Bonnie Hudson? No. But there is that other one, that other Hudson name, Guy Hudson. Okay, I'm getting distracted now. Guy Hudson. Go back because I know we have Guy Hudson here somewhere. Guy Hudson, along with his twin sister, are no strangers to the public when it comes to the Roottree snacks. They both appeared in the company's advertisements as children during the Boys and Girls Agree era. Now Guy is taking over the Roottree company at the end of the year. So he was... This is 1977. So 1977 president. Okay. Who would have known that one of the two adorable redheads, Guy, credits his mother and father, Angie and Christopher, with providing his fiery dew? So Angie, who's Angie? So wait. You, twin sister, Angie, Angelica, Christopher, Angie and Christopher Hudson. You have red hair. The question is, whose red hair? But you are also a housewife because we know from Lauren that every other one was a housewife. Is that you? No. But what about where did that other picture go? You. Is that you? Are you Angie right there? Oh, wait. Well, you could be. Because we only have two. Okay, hold on. And then we know, so Guy Hudson, who became President 3, right? 1, 2, 3. And then his twin sister, who's the twin sister? Guy's uncle. Okay, wait. Bonnie Hudson. That's the name. Bonnie Hudson. Housewife. And then, not in this picture, but in this picture, she has red hair. So they all have red hair. Next president, Guy Hudson. And then, so Bonnie, Guy Hudson. So we know, are these two? They have red hair. Did I use? No, I haven't. So, hold on. Now I have to focus back again. You. Okay. The scary eyes. Wait. No, you go here, I think. You go here. You go here. Okay, so somewhere we're wrong. Somewhere we're in the wrong. Um, you, and then I think you're in advertising. I think. Oh boy. Okay. That's Eli. Oops. Hold on. Okay. And that's your Bonnie. Maybe your Bonnie actually, and your guy. Your Bonnie, and then your guy. See, like these somewhere I'm wrong. Okay, let's go back. Guy's uncle and current president Zachariah has decided to take an early retirement to focus on traveling the world with his wife. Zach was quoted saying, "Now that our daughters have okay, so Zach Prez. Now that our daughters have started families, Clara and I plan to." Guy is new to the business world, but he's family. We at Roottree have faith in his innovative ideas and is eager to share them with the world. We like to think that boys and girls agree that he's ready to succeed. So the one thing that could be different, actually, so we know that Clara Lansing. Okay. So we don't know. Bonnie Hudson could be could like maybe maybe Bonnie has kids and Clark or Guy doesn't. Housewife and Prez, and then we do you and you. There we go. Yeah. Yes. Whew, boy, this is difficult. Clara Lansing. Okay. So we still didn't get her, but I think that's because I'm thinking that this is her. Actually, I'm thinking that's her. Yeah, right? Yeah. Okay, I think that's her. Pregnant. That's how I should have known, like, yeah, with kids. And okay, so Bonnie Hudson, but there's nothing on the computer. That's too many N's. Bonnie Hudson. Yeah, okay. And there's nothing in the search. And then we already looked at Guy Hudson. There's not too much. Like, there was nothing about his wife there. Okay. So we got all of this. Is there anyone that we haven't gotten up top besides the spouse? I'm not too concerned about the spouse. We need Elias M. Roottree. The question is, Elias M. Roottree? No. Butler County Times, maybe? No. Okay. Which would mean that this is him in that picture. We still need to find the daughter, or I think wait, is this Kim? Kim LaRue? Oops. I don't know if that's true or not, actually. But now, like, he's married and has 2 kids. So we got to figure out who his kids are. And then Elias Jr. Roottree. Maybe Elias Roottree Jr. Oops. This is just gonna bring back. Yeah. And all we can find, you attempt to find and the building, but come up empty. Yeah, see, I don't know. Is listed on about historical buildings. Unless we do Butler Times, historical buildings. Hunchetop House. We've done this before. Hunchetop House. A small feature details a building that Elias Roottree Jr.'s architecture firm worked on. It also mentioned that Elias Jr. was Elias's oldest son. Hunchetop House. Yeah, see if I could figure out his architecture firm. Elias Roottree Architect. Okay. What else is there information wise? Did we get anything? So we still need to figure out who this Stephanie. They were buried under a ton of other mail that Carl left in his inbox. Had a handwritten note that seemed personal. It's a flyer about a candidate for local office, Stephanie Jones. Oops. Stephanie Jones should be able, like, if she's running for office, she should have a website. Stephanie Jones. You learn, here we go. You learned from an election result page that Stephanie Jones, a candidate for city council, won her campaign on election day about a month ago. You find no mention of the Rootrees in any articles about her. Stephanie also has a very bare bones website for her campaign. It is simply a picture of her campaign mailer, and under it says, be sure to read the full article in the Butler County Times. Here we go. Stephanie Jones. The most recent mention of Stephanie Jones is a small report detailing the election results from last month's election. Stephanie apparently won her election. You can also find the full version of the newspaper clipping on the back of the campaign mailer. While most of it is unimportant, you do find the following. Here we go. Book ad page. Wow, there's so many pages. Stephanie Jones. Davy Jones. Stephanie Jones, born Stephanie Landon, until her marriage to local business owner Brian Jones, has lived in Butler County her whole life. Stephanie grew up in a home without a father. With my mother and her partner, I essentially had an entirely female audience. Though she is a distant cousin of the Rootrees, her mother, Carolyn, a local artist who appeared on the front page of the Butler County Times in the past, has often come out opposed to the corporation's policy regarding deforestation of indigenous trees to expand the maple farms. Unlike my mother, I'm not a fighter. I want to bring love to the world. Caroline. Butler County Times, Caroline. Caroline Jones, maybe? Or Caroline Roottree. Caroline. I'm going to have to, hold on. Let's bring this up real quick and then just bump up to Caroline. Caroline Morden. Here we go. So Caroline Morden has to be somewhere over here, right? Like here probably. Or here would be my guess. Yeah, so Caroline Morden has to be here. Caroline Morden, unknown dad, but adopted by her female partner. This is Stephanie. Stephanie Landon. And then this is Landon, Mark Landon. This has to be... Did we not take a picture of her? Oh, we did. That's her. And then this is you. You are running for government, city council. What do we call you? Travel agent, screenwriter, retail, public speaker, pro athlete, principal, politics. Okay. Then let's go back to Caroline Morden. You find a cover story about a local artist, including one by Caroline Morden. This isn't much. There isn't much about Caroline as a person. This is mostly a listing of art in Butler County. She seems to get top billing. Accompanying the story, there's an image of Caroline standing beside a large metal sculpture of a mermaid. It is captioned, "Caroline standing next to her sculpture, Atlantis Burden." This sculpture is one of many featured in her upcoming book, Self-Portrait. Okay. Oops. Caroline Morden. So, your daughter is Stephanie Landon. And then Caroline standing next to her sculpture. The sculpture is one of many works in her upcoming book, Self-Portrait Art and the Beauty of Women. According to a quote further down, Atlantis' burden is meant to symbolize a society split by indecision over whether women should be equals or something to protect. The picture on the front page has been added to your evidence. Okay, so you. Okay. The image that accompanied a story about local art in the Butler County Times is captured Caroline standing next to her sculpture, Atlantis' Burden. The sculpture is one of many works. Okay. Caroline. This is just one of many pieces of local art expo. When asked about the inspiration. Okay. So now we can go back here. We know that this is Caroline. And she is an artist. Okay. We got 3 of them. I'm not sure what the other ones were, but we got 3. I mean, besides, yeah, so we know those 2. Oh, and Bonnie. Bonnie. We got Bonnie. Go. Okay. So, we know that... What about Clara Lansing? Is there anything about her? Clara Lansing. No. I figured there wouldn't be, but I was hoping to get... Unless this is... Wait. Is this Morden? Because this is... Yeah, this has to be Ernest, right? This has to be one of the Ernest. Ernest Madsen. It has to be... Oh, wait. Madsen. Hudson. Don't know the name. Morden. Not Madsen. Roottree. Okay, where's the Madsen? Where are the Madsens at? Still don't know his occupation. I guess this could be a daughter, and it could be Madsen. It could... Is there a female Madsen? Gwyneth and Nicole Madsen. But it can't be that because... What if... Roottree, Christina Roottree, November Roottree, Samantha Roottree, Tessa Roottree, Jack Roottree. Samantha Roottree. Okay, let's go back here. Take a look at the names. So at some point, someone had to marry into a female root tree to get the name Madsen, right? But we need another Morden. Is there another Morden? There has to be. Gwendolyn. Is this Gwendolyn Morden? It could be, actually, because there aren't any other. Because this is the Morden tree. This is the Morden tree line, family tree, right? So Morden, this is a root tree, and then another root tree, and Gwyn root tree. Oh, because the dad took the root tree name. And then a root tree. Yep. So Gwendolyn has to be Morden. And then, but there was a picture of Gwendolyn in this one, right? Yep, Gwendolyn. So the question is, who is who? So it's not these two. It's not you. Eli, I think. Okay, I'm going to say, because we already have that one, I'm thinking that Eli is this one, but I don't know his occupation. Unless he is like a farmer. I think he's a farmer because he's on the payroll. No, I'm lying about that. What about Clancy Jr., Clancy Roottree Jr.? Did anything come up about him? Clancy Roottree Jr. No. But what about Business Watch? No. And there was nothing in Spider Search, right? Yeah. Yeah, there's just nothing about him. Which is interesting. Advertising, lawyer. Okay. And then Elias Roottree Jr. was the architect. But there was, again, nothing on him. So, Gwendolyn Morden, there was nothing on her. GWYN Dolan. GWYN Dolan Morden. Okay. Periodicals. Guessing there's nothing on her there. Butler County Times? No. Zach Morden. Business Watch. Yeah. But there's nothing that helps me there. 1959. Small blurb. That's all that I get. And there's nothing like... Unless Zachariah? No. Oops. Zachariah? Okay. That's interesting. You can still change. But that's his name, right? Mark Landon. That's the only one. But is that wrong? But the picture's right. Okay, I'm not gonna focus on that. Bonnie Hudson. None of those. So they have kind of blondish hair in the pictures, and I'm thinking that's her, because it looks kind of like, it looks like it. That's supposed to, that's supposed to be what it is. Don't know her. And I just don't know. Unless, like, let's see. Okay. Let's go back to. Let's go back to. That's Gwen Roottree. And I don't know the boys' names. Like, there's nothing about the boys' names anywhere that I've seen. Where is... So we got all of these except you. But we know who you are, and we know who... You're Sam. You have to be Sam. I just don't know where you fit in just yet. Okay, and then, so there's no more... Oh, wait. Jacob Rafferty. That's you. Okay, we're good there. There's no more clues there. There's one more clue on this one. An entry entitled Dynasty from Lauren Roottree's diary, written in 1958. It focuses on the day her grandfather, Elias, announced he would step down as president of the Roottree Candy Company and the meeting to determine his successor. I wish I had been a fly on the wall today. Clancy told me that everyone got quite heated. Granddad was fierce none of his sons would take over as president. But that's what he gets for holding on to it so long, with architects, preachers, and lawyers. Architects, preachers, and lawyers. Nobody's got time for candy. So with the 5 pieces refusing to step up, it came down to us next gen. Pop argued at length that the company should still stay with our branch of the family since we have the Roottree name. I'm not even sure Clancy would have wanted it, but he's the one who volunteered. So... maybe CEO then? Instead, it ended up going to Zach, even though his surname doesn't match the candy. He's the firstborn son of the firstborn 5-piece. I'm not sure how that's relevant to running a company, but Granddad has always had very particular views when it comes to his bloodline. I asked Clancy if it ever came up that a woman could take over. After all, Angie's older than Zach, and I'm next oldest of us all. But he just laughed. I'll never forget the cuss words Pop used when he told Ma it wouldn't go to us. Mother, ever the quick-witted, at least with catty remarks, countered back, maybe they wanted it to go to the only member of the family who looks like he samples the product. Captures the evolution... Lauren Roottree captures the evolution in perspective from adolescence to adulthood. Okay, let's... Did I already look at Lauren? I had to have. Well, if I could spell her name right, that would probably help a bit. A life between the... She grew up around famous... She wrote some romance novels involving historical under her married name Rafferty. Now her diary is being released under her birth name Roottree. The reviewer gives it 4 out of 5 and claims it captures the evolution in perspective from adolescence to adulthood and a true feeling of change in society across multiple decades. They call special attention to the author's recollection of the day she heard that her husband Jacob died in the war, and how times have changed in the more than 20 years since the first and last diary entry. The writer of the review mentions that because the majority of the interactions in the book took place in Butler County, including many locations they personally recognized, it made everything feel more real and perhaps contributed to a higher score than it would have otherwise received. Wait, what about the pirates? Lauren, swashbuckle my heart. Lauren, I don't know if Rafferty or I don't know if it's Rafferty, if she went by Rafferty or if she went by for swashbuckle my heart. Roottree. Wow, I forgot the last name for a second. Oh my goodness. I keep missing that U for whatever reason. Okay. Then it has to be Lauren Rafferty. Published 19, no copies available. Re-released as X marks the spot.